Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site for this issue where you can get plot synopsis and character bio. So we are going to be looking at Detective Comics number 411 from 1971. This is a sort of prelude to the demon Ra's al Ghul saga that's going to be coming up. This is the first appearance of Talia, the daughter of the demon. And so we get a great cover by Neil Adams, but Neil Adams does not do the inside. So we have Batman here, striking cover, and Talia's right here. So into the den of the death dealers. This is written by Denny O'Neil, who is the writer of the Ra's al Ghul saga. Denny O'Neil is a solid writer, and he also has done. He's partnered a lot with Neil Adams. He also did some Green Lantern, Green Arrows. Definitely the superstar writer of the 1970s. So, the night breeze, soot colored fog, and there is a stillness broken only by gasps of winds and muffled lapping of the sea. Across the bay, the lights of the city glow dimly, coldly, like beacons of hell. My goodness gracious. Silent and motionless as a bird of prey, the dread Batman perches atop the Statue of Freedom, waiting, the Statue of Freedom. So Gotham and Metropolis are both supposed to be representations of New York. Metropolis is supposed to be like the daytime New York City of the 70s, or well, of any era, and Gotham is supposed to be the nighttime representation of New York. And it's just Gotham is it's probably the worst city in all of comic books, honestly. I don't know why people even live there. So um at this time, this place, it begins a terror fraught journey by the Batman into the den of the death dealer. So we got 2/3 of the team. Bob Brown is the penciler. Neil Adams will become the penciler coming up. Neil Adams is on and off. He takes a couple issues off. He hardly ever does back-to-back issues. So this issue, unfortunately, was not a Neil Adams one. So um, I love Giordano. I love his inks. I'm not a big fan of his pencils, but I do love his inks. So he uses that big, thick brush. So inside the massive sculpture's torch, a furtive figure splashes light into the shadows, his voice hissing in a hoarse whisper. Batman, you here? I am. You left a message with Commissioner Gordon asking me to meet you here. Yeah, I want to make a trade. In exchange for protection, I'll tell you how you can nab Dr. Dark and bust the League of Assassins wide open. Why? What do you gain? My life. See, I crossed Stark. He'll get me unless you get him first. Even as the Batman, the cowed criminal, confer, a pair of cloaked forms slither stealthily toward them. God, I love. This is the early 70s, so comic books were just starting. Particularly with DC, there was a maturity that was starting to come. So the deal I want to make is, and then suddenly he screams, and Batman's like, "What's the matter? Death to our foes, death to all the foes of our league, including the Batman." With a survival instinct honed on 1,000 mortal combats, the Batman reacts, so he pushes him over. And so he goes, hits the guy in the face. So they take off. We are no match for this, Batman. Flee, or we are lost. One of them scattering metal doodads in my path for a nasty reason, no doubt. Doodads. Batman saying doodads. That's awesome. As I thought, a Japanese tetsubishi, a six-pronged tacked with razor points. If one of these had gone through my boot sole, I'd be out of action. But I'd be out of action, but good? For good, I think it meant. Crippled. And all of a sudden, you hear the guy moaning, Batman. He's pale as a gravestone. Steady, fella. I'll rush you to a doctor. No good. Poison unclawed. Dying. Filthy dog. Dark. Be on Zoom Express next Tuesday. And then he dies. And I love this. Another of Dark's victims dead. Killed in my presence. The League of Assassins has bested me once more. But it won't happen again. I swear it won't. I love how he points to the top. So, although I didn't cover some of the issues that go through it, if you go into the DC fandom page and you click on that link that I have down there, and you can see kind of what's been happening before, especially dealing with Dr. Dark. It's kind of, Denny O'Neil kind of started setting up this story, but really, I just decided to start it here because I really want to get to the good part. And it's not that it's anything wrong. I just wanted to get to the Neil Adams stuff. But I thought it would be a good point to start here. So, all right. So, essentially, Dr. Dark is the head of the League of Assassins at that time. He works for Ra's al Ghul. So, the Zoom Express, oldest creakiest passenger service in the world, a wheezing coal-burning engine and 4 termite-ridden cars which poke along narrow rusting iron nails. Ancient, odd, funny. Yet, for the folk of a tiny Asian nation tucked into the mountains between two hostile superpowers, this chugging antique is the sole means of travel. So, this brisk Tuesday morning, a certain Dr. Dark is among the passengers. May I assist you, aged mother? So, this is so this is all done in the foreign tongue of whatever it is here. It doesn't say, it just says native dialect. I'm able, thank you kindly. And this guy's telling everyone it's off to go. So there goes the train. So, and you can see some of the passengers sitting there. And so, about an hour, they get to where they're going. Come, my dear, it's time we depart. And so, this person says, we're not near any stopping point. He must be planning to jump. And so, they get out. And this lady goes, there they go. This hill slowed the train enough to let them sleep safely. And so it was Batman the whole time, which we sort of could have figured that out. But so it shouldn't be any trick for Batman to do likewise. Real quick, I have the a couple of trades that include this story, and I have to tell you that I haven't read these particular issues in forever. God, it has to be 30, 40 years. Since some of them I haven't read since the very first time. So I am sometimes act surprised because I don't remember some of the things that happened. And so Batman lands there, and Dr. Dark says, my would-be nemesis, I feared the traitor had imparted information to you before my loyal ones eliminated him. Your disguise was excellent. Batman says, save the compliment, Dark. I can afford to be generous with words, for I prepared for your possible arrival. You see, you are surrounded by the finest trained assassins on Earth. And so, and they all attack Batman. And Talia says, will they destroy the Batman? And Dark says, no. Such is their ability that they need kill only when commanded to, and I choose to permit him to remain alive, says Dark. And so Batman continues to get hit, but it's time that he hits back. And so, but he becomes overwhelmed. And soon they carry him. You can see them here carrying him to their temple. With the pain bursting in his skull, the Batman regains consciousness and feels the cool, sure touch of a woman's fingers in his battered brow. You awaken, thank the gods. I feared your injuries were mortal. And Batman says, if they're not, they'll do till let's start again. If they're not, they'll do till worse ones come along. Sometimes when you read, I'm like, what the heck, you know? And so, Batman realizes he doesn't have his mask, and Talia says, "I had to remove it. Your face is much wounded. You look familiar. Someone I have seen in a photograph, perhaps. But so bruised are you. But so bruised are you. I cannot be certain. There we go. Goodness gracious. I'll put it back on. Forgive me. I feel undressed without it. Where are we? In a cell beneath the abandoned Buddhist monastery. Are you Dark's enemy too? In a way, my father and the doctor have had a falling out over some sort of business, and Dark is holding you hostage, eh? Yes, I am Talia, daughter of he who is called Ra's al Ghul. So, there's an editor's note. In Arabic, the demon's head, literally, al Ghul signifies mischief makers, and appears as a ghoul of the Arabian Nights. Dark's henchmen captured me at the University of Cairo. I study medicine there, and I hate to interrupt this charming introduction. It would be a simple matter to render you my slave without drugs, Batman. However, such a courageous adversary deserves a chance to die in battle. My men will escort you and the lady to the upper levels, where I have prepared a most droll amusement. And so they tie her up. I propose to test your chivalry, dear enemy. You see, my men are binding the lady to the stake. And behold, at the far end of the area, a caged bull, most fierce, I assure you. At my signal, the animal will be released, and you will have a choice. Either run and save yourself, or stay and protect Miss Talia. Either way, the results should prove highly entertaining. So, Dark raises his hand, the cage door flies open, and the Batman is faced with 2 tons of bellowing, kill-crazed beast. And Batman says, mustn't panic. That critter can be whipped. It's big, but also dumb. I don't know if a bull is dumb, but it is the 70s, and this is the way people kind of got to keep the shape of the terrain in mind while I go to work on Ferdinand here. Dark's not as clever as he thinks. He's given me what I need to escape. It's not the best chance I've had. Still, there is hope. First, though, the bull has to be mad, really fierce and stunned. Got to put everything I have into a king-size Sunday punch. That slam into the nose has it groggy and ready to tear apart anything in its path. Now to lure it away from Talia. Humble. Come on, you overgrown hamburger. Chase me. Oh, that's kind of funny. Timing has to be perfect. The animal going full tilt toward those guards. And so up and over. Ferdinand the Bull. Dark slugs will be busy collecting themselves for a while, and the last thing they'll expect me to do is run away from the exit. Steady, girl, you'll be free in a moment. And he takes... just how easy. I don't have time to untie your hands. Just follow my lead and stay close behind. Batman, the door is in the other direction. I know. Just trust me, he says. And Dark is shooting at them. So Batman uses the stick like oh, what is that called? A javelin? I don't know, but either way, he gets up there and kicks him. Batman, the assassins, they've killed the bulls. They're coming. Forget him. We have a hole card. Their boss, they'll listen to you. Warn Dark's chums that unless they cooperate, something very unpleasant will happen to their slimy leader. Talia repeats the threats to the assassin, and I picked up his weapon. We may need it. We'll leave this way. There may be traps in front. They'll undoubtedly follow us, so they get down here. And so a Dark begins to wake up. Welcome back to the land of the living, Doctor. Am I a captive? You are. My father will see that you pay for this treachery. And so Batman says, I have questions for you. Considering the trouble you are in, you might as well answer them. It will be my pleasure, estimable captor. You murdered several ship owners. Why? Those were tasks my organization was hired to perform. Our victims were shipping arms to a rebel force in South America. And the opposition paid you to stop the goons to stop the shipments? Precisely. Look, the express, not a mile distance. I presume you'll deliver me into the mercies of the police. You presume right, Doctor. Then you won't mind if I make myself presentable. And he begins to fix his thing, but there's a gas. Ah, indeed, after our previous meetings, I should have imagined you would have been more cautious. There will not be another meeting, Batman. Within a minute, I shall be aboard the train. And he's got a knife. And you shall be a corpse. Stand away from him or I'll shoot. I doubt that, my dear. You're far too sweet. But then she does shoot him. And he goes under the train. And she drops the weapon and cries. The Stark couriers end with a final shrill scream as Talia sinks, trembling. And the Batman embrace. A new episode begins. So, Detective Comics was, at that time, was 2 stories. This was the first story. The second story was Batgirl stories. So, this is the end. So, kind of short and sweet. So, anyway, this will lead into the Demon Saga coming up. So, anyway, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.